quite literally kidnaps her and throws her in a dungeon to begin with. Like, hi, my name's Jodie and welcome to a new video. So today I have some book recommendations where the villain gets the girl. So I am very excited. This is one of my favourite tropes and I hope you guys do like these book recs. If you have any book recs yourself, please do let me know in the comments down below. I am always on the hunt for more for this trope. This is one of the best tropes in my opinion. I love a villain, just absolutely love a villain. There were so many books I wanted to include in this video, but they could be spoilery, so I was like best not to. So yeah, there are a few that are probably missing from this video, but I'm playing it safe. So anyway, I have 5 books I'm going to talk to you about today, which I'm very excited about. So let's just jump straight into it. So the first book we have is A Deal with the Elf King by LivCo. This is a, I think, new adult fantasy romance, and it's set in like a series, as in like all set in the same world, but it's like read as a standalone, so you don't need to read like any other books set in this world. It's a Married to Magic novel, so that's what the series is called, but they're all like standalones but interconnected standalones, if that makes sense. So essentially this is a world where we have humans and we have these very powerful elves, and the only time they ever come to the human land is for war or for wives, and this time they're coming for a wife, and that's where our main character comes in. So for centuries now the elves have taken a young human woman to be like the new queen in their world, and to be chosen is basically seen as death. So yes, that's fun, especially for our main character. So our main character is a human. She's the only healer in her town. She's dedicated her life to herbology. But then one day the Elf King unexpectedly arrives and he has come for her. So yes, she's taken from her home, forced to be this new queen to this Elf King who is very handsome. So it's very much kind of like enemies to lovers vibes. More on her side though, like she hates him and sees him as her enemy. But when she's there, she learns how their world is essentially dying and she could be the key to saving it. And yeah, then we have some romance. So yeah, he is very much the villain. He is this dark, cold elven king, and he steals her away from her family essentially, and is very much the villain to the humans and to her at first, but slowly their romance unfolds and she learns more about his world and about him. I really enjoyed this. It's a really good fantasy romance. It's very accessible if you're looking for a good place to start when it comes to fantasy romance. I feel like these would be perfect. They're not too long, the world is really easy to understand, and the characters are just really good, plus the romance is very good also. So I would definitely recommend this one, and yeah, I enjoyed this. So next we have one that everyone has seen, which is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Now it has been a time since I've read this book. To be honest, I cannot remember a lot of it, but I remember it being Villain Gets the Girl, and I know a lot of people do love this. It's a fantasy romance series that is very popular. Now I've only read the first book. I do plan to read the second and then stop there because I'm not interested in what happens after that. Like, I've heard different things that happen. That ain't for me. It's not my cup of tea. And I think people have a lot of mixed thoughts about this series. I actually unhauled all my paperbacks of this series. I literally have the Fairly editions of the first 3, so maybe I'll read book 2 and 3 because I don't plan to get rid of those. But yeah, let me know if it's worth continuing this series. I did really enjoy the first book when I read it. I read this during COVID, so it has been a while, and I remember the start being slow, but then I really got into it and I really enjoyed it. It's a really cool world of vampires, and I think there's also werewolves in here from what I remember, or wolves of some kind. I could have made that up, honestly. Who knows? It's been a while. But yeah, our main character Poppy is the maiden, so her life has never really been her own. She can't be touched, she can't be looked at, she can't experience pleasure. She's very alone essentially. But yeah, in this world there is, I think it's the vampires who are always attacking the kingdom, and she wishes she could actually be there fighting them rather than being like the maiden. Then we have Hawk, this guard who arrives on the scene and slowly begin to fall for one another, even though I don't think they like each other at first from what I remember. But yeah, from what I remember, he is the villain, kind of. But yeah, I'm not going to say too much else because spoilers, but this is definitely very much Villain Gets the Girl kind of vibes, and if you read it you will know what I mean. This is spicy. It has a lot of kind of mystery to it. Like, there's a lot that I think our main character has to find out, and also challenges her own beliefs and how she sees herself. There is of course a romance, there is of course action, vampires. It is a very, very fun read, and I think I probably do need to reread it because it has been so long. But I feel like this is a book that most people have probably already read, but if you haven't, I would recommend it, and it is a fun read. So next we have another very beloved one, which is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. Now this one, he is technically a villain. If you've read this book, you'll kind of get what I mean, but I love Jax. Jax has a special place in my heart. I love him so much, and I just love this story so much. This is such a whimsical and magical story. It has a romance, it has a sense of adventure and whimsy. Our main character really does have a lot of self-development in this book, and I just love everything about it. It is just so well crafted. The first time I read this, I read it in one sitting because I could not put it down, and I hadn't done that in a long time at that point, and I remember staying up till 4 AM reading it, and I was just enamored by the world and the characters and by Jax. And Jax is technically a villain because he kind of ends up making Evangeline take this deal, and he's kind of like a bit of a trickster really, and the plans he has for her are not great. Things happen along the way, and it is just a really, really good story. Honestly, I can't recommend this enough. Like I said, very much whimsical vibes and just really good fantasy adventure. Like it's not super adventurous, but the things that like the places our characters go in the story and the things that they do, I just loved it so much. I really loved this world and the storytelling. Like, I know every fantasy book or fictional book is storytelling, but this is like real fairy tale-esque storytelling. Like, it feels like a fairy tale or a bedtime story, and I honestly just love it so much. And I love Jack. So next we have Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent. This is a novella set in the same world as Serpent and the Wings of Night. Our main character is human, and then we have a vampire, and he's very much the villain of their town. And we have Lilith, and she's dying, and then a lot of people in their town get this like sickness, and she's trying to find like a cure. So she goes to this vampire who lives near their town, and she makes a deal with him. In exchange for 6 vials of blood every so often, he will get 6 roses, I think it is, in exchange, or something like that. I can't remember it. It's something like that anyway. She's basically testing his blood, trying to find a cure, but like, he's like a villain, like he's a vampire, and I don't want to give too much away, but this is just a really, really good romantic fantasy, especially a short one. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the pacing of this book, and the fact it's set in the same world as Seven Wings Night, but like it's set like across the sea, I think. But I think the love interest is from the world of Seven Wings Night. I can't quite explain it. If you read it, you will understand. But yeah, I love this, honestly. And I love the vampiric vibes in here as well. And just everything about it was so fun. Like, it was just a really, really fun read. And I'm excited to continue reading this world in Carissa Broadbent's other books, because I would love to see these characters again. So we shall see if they do make an appearance. But yeah, would definitely recommend that one. And then the last book I have to recommend for you guys is City of Thorns by C.N. Crawford. I love C.N. Crawford's books. Now, are all her main characters pretty similar to one another? Yes. But will you enjoy them? Yes. These are the perfect, quick, easy fantasy read. Like, if you are looking for some way to get into the fantasy genre or the romantic fantasy genre, I feel like C.N. Crawford's books are very accessible. The world is always very easy to read and set up in a way that isn't complex. It's very easy to just get immersed into it. You don't need to understand all these different names and places and things. It's just very easy. They all have a very urban fantasy vibe. They're not always urban fantasy, but they have that feel that makes it easier to understand and picture the world. And the characters are just always very like sassy, like badass vibes, like just really, really cool. And I love all of C.N. Crawford's FMCs. Like, every single one has just been such like fun to read. I've been obsessed with all of them. And the romance is always pretty fun as well. The romance in here is with the villain, kind of, and it is really, really fun. And there is trials in here as well, and I love a good trial. So yeah, we have the Lord of Chaos, who basically kidnaps her because he mistakes her for this succubus that he wants to like kill. She isn't that succubus, but eventually he realizes she is actually mortal, and they strike a deal. Because I can't remember exactly what the deal is, it says on the back here, the deal is basically that she can stay in the Forbidden City to hunt for her mum's killer, and in return she'll help him get vengeance that he craves. So she has to pose as this sexy succubus that he mistook her for. If people find out she's not, she'll be killed. There's also trials she has to complete to kind of prove this, and this Lord of Chaos guy that she's making this deal with is also her prime suspect. So she is like trying to figure out if he's her mother's killer or not, or while they try to resist this like attraction that's sizzling between them. So yes, this is such a fun story. If you like trials, you like a little bit of darkness, you like a bit of enemies to lovers, a murder mystery, this is definitely one for you. This was so much fun. I blitzed my way through this book and I can't recommend it enough. And I just love the villainous vibe. Quite literally kidnaps her and throws her in a dungeon to begin with. Like, so yes, those are some book recommendations for The Villain Gets the Girl. Like I said, there's so many I really wanted to include that are definitely more Villain Gets the Girl vibes, but they will be spoilery, so I haven't included them. But let me know in the comments what your favourite Villain Gets the Girl books are. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were. And just if you have any book recommendations in general, I would love to know. But I hope you guys did enjoy these book recommendations and this video. Let me know if there's any other recommendations you would like from me, and I can certainly do a video. I will have all these books linked in the description, along with the links to all my social media accounts. So you can find my BookTok and Bookstagram down below. And you can also find a link to my Patreon, and that's where you're going to find extra content from me, such as reading vlogs, hauls, unboxings, and other videos. You will also find early access to videos such as this one, and a Discord, a bi-monthly book club, and lots of other things. If you are a Supermoon patron and upwards, you also get a Vanilla Moon book club bookmark and that kind of stuff. So if you are interested in any of that, you can head to my Patreon. I will also link my Etsy store down below because I will be reopening it soon with some new bookmark designs, so I'm very excited about that. And there will be more Vampathon themed ones. If you don't know what Vampathon is, it is a week-long readathon I host every single October. I will be hosting it again this year, and there will be new Vampathon bookmark designs, which I'm very excited about. So that will be reopening in the autumn, and I will let you guys know when it does. But if you want to check it out, you can do. It will be linked down below. But yes, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I hope you're all safe and well and reading lots of good books, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.